Welcome everybody to another exhilarating top 5 episode of Lockdown 23 in 1. That's right, today we're going to be talking about the top 5 things you should never touch in prison. I mean, I guess you could touch them, but you could possibly be running the risk of having to go into cell and fight for your life. At least from what I've seen. So let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new to the channel and enjoy all things lockup and crime related, then this is where you want to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today. Alright, number 1 is the phone. Not just any phone, a hanging phone. A hanging phone in jail or prison can mean 3 things. 1, someone just cleaned the phones and they're letting them hang dry. 2, it's just dangling to dangle. Nobody's on the phone, nobody's using it. Number 3, someone's actually on the phone but probably ran to his cell to handle some business. And the person on the phone could have possibly stepped away as well. And that right there is the worst case scenario. A lot of guys will go up to the phone that's hanging and say, hello, hello, no one's there, but in all actuality, someone is. They'll hang it up and then start making their own phone call. Dude comes back, sees you sitting there on the phone with a big smile. In his eyes, you just banged on him. Banged meaning hung his phone call up. You know, and not to mention a lot of these calls in certain prisons, they cost a pretty penny. I remember I was in one prison, it was like $15 a call. $15 a call, and that's a whole video for another day. Seems like they're dropping the prices on these phone calls dramatically across the country, which is a great thing. But yeah, number 1, a hanging phone. And this is mostly in jail. In prison, you know, a lot of inmates are out ripping and running. In jail, it's totally different. People are riding the phone all throughout the day. So me personally, if I were to see a phone hanging, I'm new to the block or something like that and don't know too many people, I'm gonna post up close to it and watch it. If no one comes over there and uses the phone in the next 20 minutes, because you know most calls only last about 20 minutes. If no one comes, then that thing's free. If you happen to pick it up, say hello, and you actually hear someone's voice, apologize immediately. Do not be rude and let the phone keep on hanging. Now, if you see a phone hanging with a sock on it, yeah, definitely don't touch that. Someone's probably cuffing it, meaning they're keeping it completely to theirself. And it's typically, usually, from what I've seen, gang members. Some blocks, you wouldn't even be able to use a phone unless you went to them first. But number 1, a hanging phone. Be very careful. Number 2, and this is not for everybody. A lot of prisons, you know, they don't have these things. But a microwave. You can touch it, just don't touch anybody's food that's inside it. Look, I've been to prisons where the line to the microwave's like sitting in Orlando studios. Friday night, movie night, Super Bowl night, man, these guys whipping up nachos, taking the microwave for like 20 minutes. And some guys will let their food cook and walk off. And once again, sadly, a lot of gang members, they know they got the backup. Nobody's gonna do nothing, so they don't care who's behind them. They'll veer off for like 20 minutes, go shoot some dice, hop on the phone, holler at someone for a little bit, then get back to the microwave, right? So you might have a situation like that. What do? Do you touch their food, remove it from the microwave and put it somewhere? No. If you got an issue with how he's conducting himself, you wait for him to come get his food and you pull him to the side and talk to him. Or just holler out, microwave, who's in the microwave? Also, this is another thing, very rare, but it happened to me when it came to another person's food and I shouldn't have touched it. I went to the chow hall and right by the juice there was a bunch of hard-boiled eggs. I was like, whoa, man, someone left these puppies here unattended. Snagged me a few, right? Put them on my plate. I was eating it in front of everybody. Turns out that was a package for someone going back to the pod. I had to get a quick talking to, a little straightening. I mean, it was hard-boiled egg day. I just thought someone forgot them. Usually the package for someone will be wrapped up or something. These weren't. But number 2, especially in a place like jail or prison, don't be touching no food unless it's yours. Number 3, and this one's kind of tricky as well, touching another inmate's chair. Believe it or not, in a lot of jails and prisons, they'll assign you a little blue plastic chair. In like dorm style settings and stuff like that, you'll take this chair to the shower. Put your shower gear on it and all that stuff, or even, like some inmates like to do, hold their place in line in the shower and then walk off. Just because their chair's there with a bunch of gear on it, that means that they're there. Well, it's their turn to take a shower and the only thing still there is their chair. What do? You gonna grab his chair and move it somewhere else? You can do that if you want and then jump in the shower, and as soon as you get wet, he comes back like, bro, I was next. Dude just got out the shower. I was grabbing an extra bar of soap. But you're soaped up, soaking wet, and dude has an issue with you now. Maybe he doesn't want to back down. Maybe he says, get the f*** out my stall. Now you're running the risk of getting punked down. So the best thing to do, if you're to ask me in this type of situation, is not touch his chair at all. Holler out to the pod, hey, who's next in the shower? You're up. Typically, you'll probably know the person. You've been sitting there watching him put his gear out. You can just go walk up to him, say, hey, you're next, bro. What's up? You want me to take your spot? Just put your chair behind me. Even if you don't know him like that, don't be scared to talk to someone about a valid situation. Chances are he'll respect you saying, hey, bro, I didn't want to touch your chair. I wanted to come let you know you're next. And you might possibly walk away with a little friendship. And not to mention, a lot of guys, they'll put their chair in front of a TV, especially like Super Bowl or the playoffs. A lot of people call their chair their car. Some guys will cut off the back of them a little bit, make it their lowrider. It's their recliners, man. So if you see a chair placed with cushions, you might see a soda next to it on the floor with a tumbler cup, man, you don't move it. It doesn't matter if it's been sitting there for an hour. You don't know whose it is. Now, if you know who it is and you think you could carry them, then go ahead and kick that thing to the curb with the tumbler. But once again, number 3, I strongly recommend you do not touch another man's chair, especially if it's geared up and looks like it's ready to bid. Now, number 4 is pretty important as well. If you see someone doing this in prison or jail, man, they're trifling. Don't ever touch that floor with your bare feet. I don't even think I've seen the crazy inmates walk the whole pod with no socks. Even they know not to do that. Way too much filth and germs on the floor. So number 4, wear your shower shoes in the shower and don't walk nowhere barefooted. Man, you're liable to get some kind of nasty fungus, staph, who knows? Now, if the prison yard has like a volleyball court with sand, that's a different story. You're at the beach now, ladies and gentlemen. Take a load off, pop the top, and let them phalanges dangle, you know what I mean? You can relax in prison, and that might be another video, top 5 places to relax in prison. But moving on to number 5, and if you were to ask me, probably the most important thing not to touch in lockup, the television remote. That's right, man. It is absolutely treacherous, especially in jail. Chances are, if there's a remote in the pod, someone is running it. And a lot of people, they like to handcuff that as well. Keep it to themselves in the cell. And a lot of individuals, they might snap off because they can't watch what they want to watch on TV. Next thing you know, they get a little froggy and they're getting lumped up going to the side pocket. Or possibly, like many of the stories I'm bringing your way tomorrow, get killed for it. Even if it's early morning and the TV remote's sitting on the table, I seen a situation pop off behind that. Dude was like, man, damn, the remote's actually out for once. Let's change it to CMT. Man, that was the worst mistake he could have possibly made. Homeboy came out of his cell in his boxers and punked him in front of everyone early morning. Snatched that remote from him and said, don't ever turn that bullshit again. It was either CMT or VH1, I can't remember, but homeboy looked so happy looking at that music video for about 40.2 seconds. Then I seen another situation where a guy was cuffing the remote, and like I said, someone got froggy. He got tired of it. He knew he was a gang member and he had his gang homeboys right next to him. But he got mad when he asked to change the channel and they wouldn't let him. Even though they're gambling, nowhere near the TV, not even watching it. But they got the remote at the table and won't let nobody turn it. So dude went up there, tried to ask to see if he could turn the channel. They said no, kind of laughed at him. He grabbed the remote and smashed it. Everybody got up out the table, got into his face, and you could tell he was starting to raise his voice a bit. They yoked him up into the cell. And it wasn't none of their cells. It was some random cell. They put hands on him, man. Locked everybody down and called everyone out to look at their knuckles. And dropped those little pieces of paper on the door for every inmate to write if they seen anything. I was only in one jail that did that, and I couldn't believe it. But when that happens, guaranteed, you're going to realize that there's many jail snitches around. Because they came in and got everybody that was fighting. But yeah, number 5, ladies and gentlemen, I could keep going and going about stories over the remote. Do not ever touch that puppy. Unless you know for a fact that everyone's cool with anybody just touching it. But that is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed top 5 things not to touch in prison. I'm sure it's different in other states. Like I said, this is just from what I've seen. But look, there's many other things that you shouldn't be touching in lockup. These are just more of the common situations that someone might come across and think that what they're doing is right and they're not going to be held accountable for it. But in all actuality, it could definitely be disrespect to the next person. But I can't stress it enough. Look, you just got to know your environment and who you're around. A lot of times you can touch these things. Just got to be careful. But stay tuned within the next day or so and be dedicating a whole video to how treacherous the prison and jail TV remote can be. Like I said, numerous stories of inmates losing their life. Also, top 5 most relaxing places to be in prison. If you want to hear that one, let me know in the comments and I'll try to bring it your way. I'm going to tell you right now, though, the number 1 place for me to relax in prison was, believe it or not, the shower. I mean, some of them shower heads, they had so much pressure and the water was nice and hot. Man, you could really pass out in that tuna can, because the one that I'm remembering that I relaxed in the most had silver metal lined walls. But it was a single man shower with a nice door behind you, not to mention it was right next to the CO's booth. A lot of people found that to be comforting in many ways. And you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, that wasn't the #1 place for me to relax. I'll keep that a secret until I make the episode. But I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta go survive in the wild. And I'm a little worried, I'm not gonna lie, because I have absolutely no service whatsoever. And it's in the middle of bear country. Bear signs and warnings everywhere. Where I'm gonna be setting up camp has rapids literally just a couple feet from it. So I'm a little paranoid. I ain't got no service, the bears. Not to mention if you happen to hear a siren, that means a flood's inbound. I'm not gonna be able to make it away from that site in time, so I'm taking some risks doing this video. Definitely out in the middle of nowhere. If I was literally on the run, nobody would ever be able to find me. Anyway, stay tuned for all that, ladies and gentlemen. Until the next time, as always, y'all be easy, be safe, and more importantly than anything, stay free.